Alrighty guys, it's Friday and I haven't had a whole lot of time this week to work on the Ugly Truck project, but I've taken every spare minute that I have had available and we're actually making a little bit of progress. Now, here's the kicker. I have actually signed up for a private track rental. Not like I didn't rent the track, but there's a local car club who rented the drag strip and they said, hey, you want to come along? We got an open spot. So I put the deposit down and said, sure, why not? That happens 1 week from today. Friday the 8th is today. And in 1 week, I potentially have a spot where we could get the Ugly Truck back to the drag strip. However, it doesn't run as of today, and we're still a few important steps away from even being able to fire it up, much less complete the tuning and do all the other stuff that we need to do on a brand new build before we actually hit the track. So I've got a week. I do not know if I'm gonna make it, but maybe simply by telling you guys about it, I'll pressure myself to make it happen. So, status update, where are we with the Ugly Truck? Obviously, it's on the ground, off the lift, which is pretty nice. I've been doing a lot of work underneath the hood here, like I've got the fans in, I've got a lot of the radiator hoses in. All the accessory drive is in place. No belt yet, just because I am working on the power steering. Hydro Boost conversion is one of the things I want to get knocked out first. I did swap the power steering pump. You don't have to. That was a question someone raised in the comments, like to do a Hydro Boost conversion. You don't necessarily have to have a different power steering pump, but I like to, just because you have two return lines go into the reservoir rather than having to tee the lines together, which to me, I just think is a little bit cleaner. So anyway, that's it's actually a 6.0 LS 2500 HD power steering pump from a Hydro Boost truck. So we got that in there. Got to change out the booster, of course. We have a lot of the wiring like 100% complete. We still have to do the flex fuel sensor underneath. I have to make the pigtail for it. I've already got the wires in the harness and pinned in the computer, but I need to run actually install the sensor and install the fuel lines. That's what I'm running. This is a guy from Summit Racing. So it uses a GM flex fuel sensor, but it goes in this little billet block, so it can actually increase the size. So instead of a 3/8, it actually has like one path that goes through the sensor and one that splits off just for more volume. Anyway, we'll talk about the fuel system. My buddy Parker hooked it up with all the fuel filter. We'll talk about this in a minute, but these are some pretty nice filters, and my buddy from Utah actually owns the company. So all the fuel, check those guys out. We'll get that one installed. We'll get the fuel lines made. We got like a million things to do, and I'm gonna try to get it done as quickly as I can, because I'd really like to go back to the drag strip this year. If it doesn't happen Friday, it'll probably happen at some other time this year, but pressure's on. So let's get started. You may not be able to see it, but there's a little dimple right there on the firewall, because this one bolt is in a different spot. The other three are same. All right, so we had to clearance the top just a little bit and put the new hole in. Now the new booster should fit. Like a glove. What's that? Oh, nice. Nick was asking about that. All right. Out with the hole. Oh, in with a new. All right, so it was actually Sunday afternoon, and this is normally the time when you'd expect a video to be going live, and this Sunday, today, the 10th, there is no video, so sorry. This will probably be like last week for you guys. Sorry I missed the upload, but you know how stuff goes. I just simply did not have the time to dedicate to producing a video. But we're working through the weekend because I'm really trying to make Bandimere happen this Friday upcoming for me. What I say, the 15th or 16th, whatever the date is. Anyway, we've got the Hydro Boost conversion done. I think I already covered most of that. Popped my shoulder out a little bit when I was reaching up under the dash. That kind of made things uncomfortable. Helped my brother-in-law Teague build a deck yesterday on Saturday, and Sunday we're back to work to try to get some stuff done. Fuel system is the next major thing that's stopping me from actually test firing this motor, so that's what I want to get started. It's the game of connect the dots, so I need to mount the dots. Number 1 being the flex fuel sensor, number 2 being the fuel filter, and number 3 being the fuel pressure regulator. And the 4th one, of course, already taken care of some time ago, is the pump setup in the tank. And once the dots are mounted, then we can just easily build some AN lines and connect the dots. Anyway, I've told you a little bit about this before, but I want to mention it again in greater detail. All the fuel, if you need any sort of fuel filters at a great price point that are also great quality, check out All the Fuel. My buddy Parker from Utah actually started this company. This is a 10 micron filter element. It flows up to 250 gallons per hour of fuel. And on ethanol, that'll support, like, E85, that'll support roughly 1,400 flywheel horsepower. I think on just pump gas or, standard gasoline, it'll produce up to 2,000 horsepower, again, at the flywheel. So that's pretty much right where we need to be. He offers a 10 micron element after the pump and then a 100 micron element before the pump if you have like an external frame mounted one. The kit comes with pretty much everything that you need. We've got the pump, your fitting size of choice. I asked for a -10, so that's what's included. And of course, the bracket to mount it onto the frame rail. This is a serviceable filter. I think the element inside is like only 50 bucks. So if you ever want to get the thing, cleaned out or tuned up, he offers those replacements as well. Check it out. It's allthefuel.com with some dashes in between. I'll put the link down in the description. Once again, check him out. It's my buddy Parker from Utah. So that's the fuel filter. As far as the ethanol content sensor, or quote unquote flex fuel sensor, I picked up this combo from Summit. It is a standard GM, I believe, Continental flex fuel sensor that actually relays the info to the computer through those 3 wires. But the reason why it's mounted in this big old doohickey is because, you probably can't see through it, the flex fuel sensors are only a 3/8 diameter, which we need a little bit more volume than that. So this guy here basically splits the flow. So some of it goes through the sensor, and then the rest goes through this other area down here, so it doesn't become a restriction. That's a Summit Racing. I think maybe I'll put a part number down there below. The regulator is in that box. I won't dig it out right now, but I showed it to you, I think last time. It's a big Aeromotive one. I wanted to get the Hydro Boost done first because I think I'm going to actually build a bracket right off the brake booster and have the regulator sit maybe like right here. That's what my goal is. But that means I have to relocate my coolant overflow up here somewhere where my old catch can used to go. And then the new catch can, I think, is going to go in that corner. So before we hit the track, there's a lot of little bracket building stuff that we have to do, but I want to just start this thing up. So first things first, let's actually get the fuel system components mounted. All right, so I'm using this Summit Racing -10 PTFE for the feed and return lines. Of course, have to use the fittings specifically for that, which assemble just a little bit different than regular AN lines. basically this little ferrule thingy that kind of squishes in between the outside of the hose and the inside of the braid. Kind of nut screws on there like normal. Definitely a little bit more fiddly to work with than standard stuff, but for E85 you need the PTFE lined hose. So that's what we're gonna do. First thing, the tube nut slides over, kind of goes away, and just gotta peel apart the braid from the liner. So this hose is pretty tough, but just because we're sort of kind of near the exhaust, we're gonna just slide a little bit of it inside this DEI fire sleeve, they call it. Made a mark. Kind of goes to about there. Stop. Trying to protect this aluminum as much as I can, but I really need to get some of those soft jaws for the vise. Masking tape only does so much. So we're jumping ahead in time just a little bit. It's now Friday morning, the day that we are going to the racetrack. The truck hasn't started yet, but also the race day got canceled. Unfortunately, it's raining up there in Bandimere, so they just canceled the event. It was going to be postponed to Sunday, but something else is going on Sunday. So regardless, probably we're not going to make it to the track this weekend, but I still need to get this thing fired up for the first time, do some tuning, so time-wise, this actually might work out to our advantage just a little bit. But anyway, I skipped through a lot of this process just because you've seen me making a million hoses by now. I originally, this doesn't look exactly how I wanted. Originally, I wanted some 45s on here, but the Summit-8 45s for this PTFE hose were on back order. I did try to purchase some of the Amazon PTFE fittings, thinking they might work, but they don't. The sizes are ever so slightly different. So we're just gonna go with the straight fittings for now, but eventually I will clean these up, put some 45s on here just to make this look a little bit neater and nicer. Had a bunch of leaks that we went through and corrected. We got the fuel pressure set. So basically we're at the point now, I'm gonna crank the engine over to prime the oiling system. I'll put the plugs in, put the coil wires on, and hopefully, if everything works out right, we'll hear this thing run today. So now that we have oil pressure, all I'm going to do is put the plugs in, put the wires in, connect the coils, connect the injectors. Hopefully, it actually fires up. And also, we don't have any problems after it fires up. So, as always, it's good to be cautious and not need it, and then need it, not have one, I guess. So, let's see if this thing will start. All right, so status report, fired up, great oil pressure, no funny noises. Power steering system obviously is whining. I mean, no funny engine noises, but we got to figure out this coolant situation here before we go too much further. Oh, right there, those flip joint pliers. And then that one heater return hose that goes to the crossover. Just slowly loosen it, see if there's an air pack we can release from there. It may spit coolant, but... All right, round two. We have the coolant topped off, pretty much most of the air flushed out. I got the power steering fluid filled. So let's see if we can run it for a little longer. All right, guys, major sigh of relief right now. A lot of excitement and now a lot of motivation to finish this thing up, because even though we started it, we're not 100% done. We just got a few odds and ends left to finish up, which I'll take care of. I want to get this thing on the track as soon as possible, but yeah, just so excited, major milestone. I think I started this project, I removed the engine back in like May or so. That was the time frame. And originally I wanted to get this thing knocked out in, a month, but that was obviously a very unrealistic goal given the timeline of things that also go on in the shop. Owning a shop does take up a lot of time, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm just so excited right now because we got it running. There's no major issues, there's no leaks. The thing runs actually pretty good on the original tune from where I had it before. I haven't adjusted for the flex fuel operating system and that stuff yet. Left my tuning laptop at home, but yeah, guys, this is I said it again, milestone, but anyway, yeah, it runs pretty dang good. It has a little teeny tiny lope to it. The cam I chose was definitely a baby cam compared to what I could have, limited of course by, piston to valve clearance. So I'm kind of just, my brain is a million different places at once right now because I'm just thinking of all the things I have left to do. So checklist wise, I got to get my breather tank for the valve covers mounted in this corner somewhere, I got dash 10 lines to make up for that. I'll put my intake tube in that goes from the throttle body down to the intercooler outlet. I just left that off, just in case, because it is a bit of a challenge to get it fished down in there. I got to redo a bracket for my coolant overflow bottle. That's just kind of propped up there now. But those are the two major fab projects, and then just a lot of wire tidying up. I got almost everything where I want it, but there's a few hoses and things, wires underneath that just need like a little bracket made to hold the hose or wire where it belongs. Same thing up top, but that's just little stuff. So yeah, I am so excited right now. We don't have to take anything back apart. It's ready to go, ready to be tuned, more or less, and we're gonna hit the racetrack. So yeah, I'm excited. Sorry that it took this long to get the project done. I knew we skipped a week for a video last week just because of all the hecticness that's going on in the shop. That's probably a whole nother video for another time, but yeah. Anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Come back soon. We'll be doing burnouts for this truck in very short order.